I would say the best part about like any of the Super Bowls, I've won three. Um, the best part of it is just seeing, seeing the confetti fall and then really, really letting the realization hit that you just won it, and I'll tell you this, even after the first one, you however many you win after, it still feels the same. It doesn't change. Um, that confetti dropping and just the overwhelming feeling of accomplishing, the biggest goal in sports history. Like, this is the only game that that I could think of. This is the only game where, you don't get a series to win this. This isn't baseball. This isn't basketball. This isn't, soccer. You don't get a series to win this. This is winner take all, win or go home every single game after when that postseason starts. So, just being able to fight and beat, the best of the best teams, and then you get to the obviously the other best team that you would play, and accomplishing that feat, man. So that's the overwhelming feeling. And obviously, I'm from a small town of Perry, Florida, that has 7,000 people there. So this, me being able to do something like that is huge in the grand scheme of things when it comes to like a place where I came from. So all that comes into mind and all that emotion comes whenever you win one. That's some of the most fond memories. Those are the things that you feel, that emotion. That's what I really remember the most. Oh man, that's the first one, so again, that holds a special place in my heart because it hasn't been done before. I was only there for 1 year, but I grew, the relationships and the family type vibe and the feeling that you get just from being on that team, just from being around, that organization and the love that they bring and the energy that they bring. It was all positive and all good, which is, kind of led the charge for us. And the electric energy of the fans just goes without saying. That is probably one of the most electric places to play. Obviously, if you're a Philadelphia Eagle, but for anyone else, it is. I'm pretty sure. I'm positive it is horrific. Um, and don't let these guys start winning at a good level. By a good amount. Then it could probably get ugly because people, these games out here in Philly, and also I will say this: when you're losing or if you're not playing well, you know, you you're gonna get that part of it as well. Where some places they probably, they still be like, oh, well, you're gonna get the whole 9 yards in Philadelphia if you're not winning games when you're supposed to win games. You're gonna feel it. They're gonna tell you, they're gonna show up to your workplace. They're gonna stand in front of your buses leaving the whole nine. So, but I wouldn't trade it for the world, man. Philly was one of the most amazing experiences I've ever had in my life. I mean, the difference was, the culture. I think that's the only real difference. But they both had the same common goal. Both teams worked extremely hard. Both teams had extremely talented rosters. And they had really really good coaches. So I'll say the difference was um, the fact that obviously Doug was a little bit more upbeat, a little bit more relatable to the players. He could laugh, he could joke, everything. We're not serious 24/7 and stuff like that. And Bill is more so. We're gonna stay on the course. We're gonna make sure we enjoy this little one win and just back to work. And every week is a grind week. Make sure that we give ourselves the best opportunity to win the next game. And it was more of a military thing, but again, that molded and shaped me, into like a better professional and a better man. So, I can one thing I can say that both those coaches did was they brought me to two different perspectives of how you can coach and approach the game. Yeah, it was bittersweet. The fact that it had to be them. I will say, um, I could have been on the other side had we made, agreement on what the money looks like. But knowing so going out through the course of the season with Philly and seeing, oh well, New England they look like they might be going back, and I'm thinking like, well, shit, sorry, I'm thinking like it looked like we probably gonna be getting there too. So I'm licking my chops as the season goes on, and boom, I see they beat, I see they beat I want to say the Ravens or Indianapolis, and then I see they beat the next team, and obviously we beat the Falcons and we beat the Minnesota Vikings, and it's game time, and so it was It was boiling. I told Deuce, this is just a little insight. I'm like, I told Deuce, the running back coach for Philly, I'm like, look, I don't care, what the lineup been since we've been here all season. I don't care who's been doing what. That don't matter now. I need to start this game. I need to get the most carries. I'm gonna take us there. I promise you. I'm gonna take us there. So, whatever the game plan is, you need to make sure I'm involved early. And I remember him saying, "Bro, I know what it means to you. I got you. I know what it means to you. I got you." I remember that conversation specifically throughout that week, and then after the game was over, he came over and was like, "Hey, bro, I told you, we're gonna ride you, ride you back all the way to the end." So it was bittersweet, and then you go over there and you see your guys, Brandon Bolden and Dev, and Bill and James and all those guys. You hug on them, and it's like, damn, bro, I know it's heartbreaking. Well, I don't know because I haven't lost one, but I know I can't even imagine how it feels to hurt, to feel that way, knowing how hard it is to get here. So that's the bittersweet moment of it. They look good early. I will say they were scoring points, but to be honest with you, they were winning games, but not in the most dominant fashion. I will say that, so they were, 9-1 or 10-1 or whatever. They were winning games, but it just wasn't dominant enough for you to warrant or feel like, okay, this team reminds me of last year, or this team reminds me of 2017. Like it didn't feel that way. It felt like they were getting by. I felt like they were showing big flashes of what they could do and the potential and the ceiling that they could reach. But it just wasn't. And not a lot of games were really that comforting or comfortable whenever we were watching them, saying like, "Oh snap, we're gonna beat the crap out of this team." And that's what kind of throughout the season I kind of got that feeling. Then late when it finally hit, and some of these teams after Thanksgiving are starting to change things and getting ready to make your real run towards the postseason and doing everything you got to do to win these games. We didn't show up. We didn't show up. Even last week against the Giants, we didn't show up. We played our starters. We did. Or they did. They played the starters, but they didn't show up. That's some inner problems. You got the players, you got the scheme. That's some inside problems that you got to figure out and got to work on. Yeah, I do. I think they're capable because they have a defense that could be very, very, very opportunistic. They got an offense that could be extremely explosive at any point in time in a game. So yeah, they definitely have it. But like I said, whatever it is that they have going on, they have to fix it. And maybe that's internal. Maybe that's some coaching. Maybe that's some coaching player disagreements. Maybe that's maybe that's some higher up stuff where the coaches aren't good. I don't know what it is, and I'm not going to speculate or say it, but I know that roster, it has the potential to be a Super Bowl contending roster. He has proven to be uh, a quarterback that could win in the postseason. He's proven to be a quarterback that could take you to a Super Bowl. He's proven to be a quarterback that could potentially win you a Super Bowl. If the ball bounces a different way in that game, we're having a whole different conversation. So he's proven himself over and over again. He's proven that he's worth every penny he gets paid. He's proven that he can be an MVP candidate type player. So he has all the weapons, he has all the materials and everything that you want in a franchise quarterback. That can stick around for a long time. Um, but you just I think I don't know what's going on. I don't know if they're giving him too much responsibility, or maybe they just need to slow it down a little bit, or I don't know what the case is. Maybe simplify some things, but it's just not clicking. You know what I'm saying? But he has all the tools and amenities to be the guy. See, the thing is I don't know if there's questions about him trying to get it back on track because they're in the postseason right now, so you can't really complain. But I mean, dropping 4 or 5 out of the last 5 or 6 games is alarming, right? You don't want to go into a playoff game with that kind of skid. If I'm on a team that just barely scathed in on the playoffs and we got into playoffs off of a 3 or 4 or 5 game win streak, or 5 out of the 6 games we needed to win, we got in. Philly is the team that I would want to play. Like they are, I'm wanting to play Philly first. Like just because of the simple fact that okay, well, these guys just got beat by the Giants, and that's not no knock. Obviously, I feel like they can beat the Giants 100 times over. But if you're on a hot streak and you barely got in, that's who you want to see. That's what you want to see. You want to see a team that is started out hot and barely got in on the back end, or whatever. They obviously they got in on because they clinched early, but still, like, that's who you want to see. You know what I'm saying? So if things don't go right in this first playoff game, man, I do think they got to answer some questions. I do think they got to bring some things to the table, and that might have to be something internal, because it can't be the players that you got, man. You got a first round draft pick in Devontae, a first round draft pick in AJ, or a second round, I think, second or whatever. But he's a better one of the better receivers in the NFL. I think top five in receiving yards this year. So I mean, man, you got these guys. You got Goddard. You got Swift. I mean, come on, man. You got to be able to figure it out. That definitely looks like a likely Super Bowl matchup. Although I will say, um, if this is San Fran kryptonite, man, if the Rams make it to San Francisco, that's not going to be a blowout matchup. Like, that's going to be the I don't know if the Niners are going to benefit from having this time off, or if it's going to hurt them from having this time off, because the Rams are hitting on all cylinders. They look really good. They got a running back that has come along. I think he probably didn't play but 10 games or 11 games this year, and he still had 1,000 yards rushing. So he's coming along. You know what I'm saying? And San Fran has a good run defense, but man, this kid can tote the pill. And he is not afraid to carry it 25 times and only have 70 or 80 yards. Like, he's that kind of kid. So I mean, that's the only problem I see San Fran really having. Um, I think they beat Dallas decisively, and probably any other NFC team pretty decisively, and so does the Ravens. But um, you go out there and I'm gonna go to the other side. If the Ravens turn around and mess around and see a team like the Buffalo Bills, well, I mean, they got that young running back James Cook going. I mean, and if they're not playing if they're not playing in Buffalo, and the weather's a little bit better in Baltimore than it is Buffalo, because that snowstorm coming to Buffalo at some point. If it's better, I mean, now you're looking at the Bills really having a chance, or Cleveland. I like them. Or Cleveland, those two guys have a chance to give the Ravens a run for their money, because obviously Cleveland is a division foe. I've been really impressed with him, and I know a lot of guys are hating on him because he don't have as many passing touchdowns as his former MVPs and all this stuff. But nor do the former MVPs have 6, 7, 800 yards rushing either, and 5, 6, 7, 8 rushing touchdowns. Maybe Brady might have something like 15 carries for 12 yards and 4 touchdowns off quarterback sneaks, but like, outside of that, I mean, these guys, I mean, it is obvious. If we're not looking at the numbers and all that stuff, it is extremely obvious that he is the most valuable player in this league. If his team loses him, there's absolutely no chance of a Super Bowl. You know what I'm saying? But if the Niners lose Purdy, I mean, Sam Darnold will come in and play well. I don't really think that is Mahomes. I think you really want to ask is, are the guys that he has around him able to step up now? Like Kelsey, you don't have to worry about, but Tony, Rice, uh, Watson, all these guys that are leading the league in drops and multiple drops a game and drops in crucial times and all these things, like, don't know what route they're running, not paying, things like that. That's what makes them a liability, not Mahomes. I know that the defense, Kansas City, whenever it's crunch time, they probably don't have the best defense in regular season, but whenever it's crunch time in the playoffs, for some odd reason, they turn it on. They turn it on. It's like, after Thanksgiving, we need to start playing the right kind of ball. So after, usually in the playoffs, they turn it on. So, I mean, obviously Kansas City, well, I'm going to just say Mahomes is never a guy that you want to see. Never a guy that you want to see. Oh, yeah, they've overcome a lot. And I think, Cleveland is a sleeper. That's a team that, I'm telling you, it's not even like that AFC is stacked full of like teams that, Kansas City ain't even the most feared team in the AFC anymore. And that says a lot because they got probably the most dominant, pure, I guess, quarterback in the league. Like obviously Mahomes is, one of the better guys. He ain't top three. Like he's one or two, better pure, quarterbacks in the league. So I mean, you look at Cleveland. They lost their quarterback. They lost another quarterback, and then they end up with Joe Flacco off the bit off the couch, probably coming in weighing 270 pounds and not looking nowhere near remotely close to what a football player probably looks like. I mean, or maybe he came in looking amazing. Who knows? But whether he did or not, what it looked like, he came in and threw for 300, 300, 290, 300, 3, 4, he came in and played 4 or 5 games and threw for over 1,000 yards and like 15 tubs, like, or something like that crazy. So, and then you lose your running back early, Chubb, and this Jerome Ford kid come out of nowhere. He's nice as hell. He come out of nowhere. So, I mean, damn, bro. Yeah, they're dangerous. Yes, yeah. So, I mean, that to me, that's a candidate for coach of the year. Someone like that. That plays a factor. Losing major pieces to your organization and losing major keys to like your team and still being able to go get it done. That plays a factor, and that's what I think. Like that's where really real coaching comes into play. Adversity strikes. Sometimes it'll break you. Sometimes it'll make you stand up and let people see what kind of like what you really bring to the table, like what kind of coach you really are. I like to face adversity. I want to see what I'm made out of. Like shit, am I gonna crap my leg or am I gonna stand in the paint? I like seeing that. I want to know. I want to know for myself. I think on the road they can be just as effective, but Stroud is coming back off of, obviously that concussion a couple years ago, so a couple of weeks ago. And he just played, his second game, after that concussion. He just played his second game and he played pretty well. I'd be afraid of this rookie, but Cleveland gonna tote that pill and Flacco gonna sling it. I like Cleveland. I don't see Mahomes losing in the first round. I just don't see Mahomes losing in the first round. Miami is coming out there to that. It's gonna be cold as hell. So they gonna have to be ready for it. Regardless of guys, guys want to be tough and they go out there with no sleeves on and no shirts on. And man, psychologically it does. You can trick your mind, but at the same time, when that ball hits your hands and it's freezing outside, it still hurt. I'm gonna go with Buffalo here. They're gonna stop the run. I know that these guys got here by feeding Najee Harris the ball last week. I want to say they had 20 plus carries or like 120 something yards, couple tubs. So you're gonna go into Buffalo trying to do that, and they're not gonna allow that. Buffalo are gonna hit him. They're gonna hit him. They're gonna still be explosive on offense. They're gonna score points. I like Buffalo here. I like Buffalo a lot here. Hey, Jordan Love, for his first year as a first time starter, first year as a first, he's played fairly well. They just got Aaron Jones back. That's a problem. That's a problem. I I like Green Bay here only because they just got back the best player on their team and Aaron Jones. He just played last week. He looked great to me. Um, he can catch the ball. He can run the ball. Um, and Green Bay has a very opportunistic defense as well. They've been playing really well down the stretch. Um, Dallas has been having a couple issues. Um, I like Green Bay, man. I like Green Bay. I know they're the underdog, but Jordan Love in Green Bay, I like him. My personal opinion, um, you're talking about, the Rams who have a really, I think they have a solid run defense. Any defense with their Aaron Donald is going to be a good run stop defense. Um, and they're hitting on all cylinders. They got 1,000-yard receiver and a rookie that just broke all kind of records. Cooper Cup is back and he's really, he's healthy. Um, and that Kyron Williams kid came burst on the scene, out of nowhere. Um, and I know that Detroit has a pretty powerful offense and explosive offense as well. Man, it's gonna be a fun game to watch. It's gonna be a really really fun game to watch. Um, but I just can't bet it. I just can't bet against. I can't bet against. I can't bet against Stafford, man. He just went and won a Super Bowl a couple years ago. Like he's a good ass quarterback, and so is Goff. Goff took his team to a Super Bowl, but they lost. You know, I'm just stating the facts. It's and man, McVay has been there. He's been there before. So and I like the Rams to go. I like the Rams to go beat to disappoint Detroit. I like him. I like him. He's a good back, man. He's a really good running back. A young kid too. It's like, damn, bro, y'all lost Gurley and y'all was kind of in the what I'm saying, in the limbo for a minute, and then boom, y'all this kid came out of nowhere. It's like he's probably going to be the starting back for a while. It's like kind of like how Pacheco did with Kansas City. They can go down there and do the job. I don't think they've been that successful with playing against the Buccaneers recently, but that was because Brady was there, so that's different. Like Baker been playing lights out though. He's been playing lights out. He's been playing really well. I think he threw for what 3,000 or something like that this year, a little bit over 3,000. I mean, he's playing well. He has a healthy team. Rashad White is playing, lights out for these guys. Um, and that defense is always playing pretty good as well. I mean, they got a guy that got snubbed out of a Pro Bowl in that safety Antoine Winfield Jr. Man, he's a very underestimated player in the league. Um, but I gotta I gotta give it to Philly, man. I gotta give it to them. I think that they go up in. I think they go to Tampa and handle business. I really do. I think they go to Tampa and handle business and get back on track. I didn't think it was gonna happen. I'm gonna be honest with you. I didn't think that it was gonna happen. Um, I my personal opinion, if just like they wanted Brady to stay there for his entire career, I think Bill should have still been done like the same. He should have been given the same grace. Um, 24 years in one place, you've dedicated your life to it. So um, I think he's, but maybe I can't answer this for him. Maybe he just wasn't. Maybe it was time for him. Maybe he felt like, okay, this is time for me. It's time. Um, I don't know. I don't know what that was, but I mean, I hope that's what it was. But they said they're trying to get back on track and going to the playoffs and things like that. I kind of seen a little bit of clips of the press conference and stuff like that, and maybe this is what they need. Maybe they need to get a little younger. Maybe they need to go hire Mayo and Steve. I'm keeping Justin Fields. I'm keeping Justin Fields for the simple fact that, um, you know, I think, me personally, I think Caleb got exposed. Um, he did. He does have really good weapons around him, but I think he got exposed. And maybe he's just a product of an extremely bad defense where your offense is putting up 40 and 50 points and you're still losing. So, but I don't think you go. You guys are just now building back up. You guys just drafted Fields a couple years ago. There's no need in trying to start it over and possibly end up with the same result. Let Fields continue to develop. You go get some kind of veteran that's been around for a long time and to help him excel like in what he needs to excel at and continue to let him rock out because how is he any different than Kyler Murray? How is he any different than these guys that run around all the time? Except I think he has a bigger arm. I just think he has a bigger arm than Kyler. I think he's a more obviously a bigger body and he's a bit more of a playmaker than Kyler. But I mean I wouldn't get rid of him and go draft another quarterback right now. I wouldn't. I like the way he's trending. Oh, Christian McCaffrey. Oh yeah, McCaffrey's the best back in the league right now. I mean, he led the league in rushing, and I think Henry ended up second, and he started off really slow, but he ended up second in the league. But I mean, it's a no brainer. I think he has 13 or 1,400 yards rushing, maybe close to 15, and what 600 yards receiving at least. Something crazy like that with 20 at least 20 plus touchdowns. Like it goes without saying, like he's the best back in the league by a mile. I'll give you a running back that I really see a lot of potential in. Um, that James Cook kid, I like a lot, man. I like him a lot. Um, I think that he has the potential to be, a version of what his brother was in Minnesota. Um, and we all know what kind of player Dalvin was before he got, before he went to New York. He was, I mean, arguably easily, top three backs, top five backs in the NFL. To going to the Jets and being, a mere shell of like any of the things that we've ever seen, because obviously the explosiveness of Brees Hall. And that's another kid that I think is going to explode on the scene. Brees Hall is going to be one of those guys that just, him and James Cook are going to be a couple of those kids that kind of take over the league by storm at running back, because it's their time. It's just their time. Older backs are getting out of the way. The Zekes are gone. I'm pretty sure Derrick Henry kind of on the back end, and some of these guys are on the back end. So it's time for these guys to kind of explode on the scene.